All right, everybody. Hopefully you're able to join us and you're ready to go. We are live on the air. Welcome to the first episode of DMAR's brand new Top Producer Hangout series. My name is Justin Knoll. I'm going to be the moderator for today. I am a former chairman of the board for DBR, the Denver Board of Realtors, and then DMAR, and I'm currently an NAR director. I've been a RE Colorado director as well, all kinds of stuff that's super boring. Right now, I'm the president of Madison & Company, up and coming, we hope, brokerage here in Denver. More importantly, joining me is Keith Alba. Keith is a Denver native and is an investor in a Keller Williams Market Center and property management company. He's also currently the employing broker for the Market Center, overseeing training, supervising for over 200 agents. I was recently honored by the Denver Business Journal, naming him the #7 top producing agent in the Denver metro area, and was an Excellence Award winner in the category of sales production and number of transactions for offices with 101 to 200 agents. So Keith is a beast in the business, as we like to say. He knows what he's doing. I'm excited to hear what he's got going on. We've been chatting here for a little bit, and I'm really excited to learn some interesting things. So, Keith, thank you for joining me today. Are you ready to roll?
Yeah, my pleasure. Happy to be here, and awesome. Looking forward to having some fun.
Awesome. Good. So, what we thought we'd do is just kind of start with you, and before we get into the meat and potatoes of your business, I think it's important we get to know you. And I've seen your name for many, many years. We were just joking offline here that how have we not actually shaken hands and met each other. But I want the audience to get to know a little bit about you and what you're up to personally. Sound good?
Sure.
Right. Where are you from?
I am one of the few and fleeting natives to the Colorado area. Actually, born and raised down in Southeast Aurora, a graduate of Smoky Hill High School. So lived here all my life, with the exception of 4 years where I went out to the beach in San Diego for college.
Very cool. Yeah. How about now? Where do you live now?
Now I'm on the south side of town, down in Castle Rock.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Okay. We talked a little bit, but how did you decide to get into real estate?
Decide is a funny word, right? You know, based off of the conversation we were having. It was a family business. When I was growing up, my family had an independent real estate company, and it was just understood that was the direction that I would be going. And as soon as I could answer a phone, I was setting showings and working in that office. And so it just kind of came naturally to follow that line.
Yeah, same here. I think it's like the mob. There's really no way out of this if you're in it as a family. So we're glad to have you. So and where and when did you really start your career?
It was kind of right after college. When I moved back to Colorado, was when it started down that path. At that time, we had some ownership in some different Keller Williams franchises across the state. My father was heavily involved in a lot of land development pieces. And so what I saw was a gap that was in there, and it was the construction side of it. So when I got back from college, I actually started working for some of the national builders here in the area to learn how to build a house and put them together. Went on to move to a custom builder. And was project managing stuff for him for a while. And so that was really kind of the entry into real estate, so to speak. Going in after that, did some lending, was a loan officer for a while. From there, went to the regional office of Keller Williams, where I was doing franchise sales and support. And then decided I was done with the corporate world and just wanted to take care of my own stuff. And so that's when I went out and really started doing the real estate with public.
Okay, very good. So I know you've had a ton of success in real estate. We see your name all over the town. If you're on this and you're watching this, you've certainly seen his name somewhere. Share with us some of the highlights you have from last year: sales volume, number of transactions, kind of growth of your business, how that's gone the last year.
Sure. So last year it was 153 units for what's 65 million is how the MLS has got me listed. And that's the stuff that was run under me. I've got some business partners that are part of my home team, and they have some individual production as well. So far, year to date, again, for me, I've got 82 units for 38 million. So we're
Wow.
tracking to have a banner year and possibly double, if not triple, what we did last year.
Holy cow. I know a major part of your business is in the new home construction side, which I know I'm jealous of. I'm sure most of our listeners are as well. Talk about your background in new construction, how you decided, or were you led in that direction? How'd you get in that?
Sure. Well, like I was mentioning, my father was doing a lot of land development and stuff. And so he was going in, buying right pieces of ground, getting them through the city approvals and basically getting lots build ready. And that time he was selling the lots off to different builders or just selling the whole community off. And so that's where I saw my opportunity, was to go in, build the houses after his companies have gone in and developed them, and then was looking towards, have the Keller Williams agents kind of market and sell those for us. Was going down that path and was with that private custom builder up until 2001, after September 11th happened. And so that owner had to make some business decisions, and the company was his wife, myself, and him. We worked out of his house, and so when he was going to cut expenses, I was the natural one on there. So, but that's where I got my background. And then when I started getting into real estate, I wanted to leverage kind of my unique value proposition and having that knowledge of how a house goes together, being a resource for the consumers, to talk to them about the properties, and if they're concerned about something that was going on, being able to say, yeah, this is an issue, or nah, you don't necessarily need to worry about that. The consumers like that, and then the builders like having somebody out there that's got that knowledge as well. And so it was a good marriage all the way around.
So if you were to do it all again, would you go that direction? Would you encourage others to go that direction?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously working for me, so I can't, knock it. It's been providing food for my family and keeping a roof over my head. So I definitely can't say that I wouldn't do that. If there are people that are out there that are looking to get into that side of it, I would encourage them to get the knowledge and expertise, right? It is a different world. The contracts are completely changed from what we know of that are approved by the Colorado Real Estate Commission. And so having that knowledge and really having the ability to have that competency, if there was something that came up and a CREC investigator came to you and said, why are you an expert in this field, or why do you feel comfortable in being able to represent the public there? I think there's, going out and finding that education is going to be vital.
Okay. So we know that lead generation is the key to what I call the diverse, scalable, profitable, predictable business model. And you've obviously done well at that. What are your most successful strategies for lead generation, and what tools do you use?
Sure. So outside of the builder world, our biggest one is our sphere of influence, our database. Focusing on that. There's people that have already said that we know, like, and trust you, Keith, or my home team, and so why wouldn't we continue to add value to those guys and continue to maintain that mind share, as I call it. So that's kind of the focus on the top one. Secondly, open houses is where we're heavily invested. A lot of stuff now is going in there, capturing the buyers that are coming through, or what we refer to as a circle prospecting, which is essentially a just listed campaign by door knocking and phone calls when we do get a brand new listing coming on board. We've had a lot of success doing those aspects. And then with the rental rates and vacancy rates being where they're at right now, investor hot sheets is another good source of business for us. So those are kind of, outside of the builder world, some of the other lead generation sources that we've got.
Talk to me about that, the investor hot sheets.
Sure. And we'll talk a little bit more about it when we get down into my team structure, so to speak. Okay. But one of the tasks of my virtual assistants, or one of the virtual assistants I have, is going in. We've got him set up on a property search through the income side of the MLS. He goes in, we'll start doing some analysis on those things. We pick, a hot sheet that's, usually about 3 or 4 a week that hit certain criteria. And as long as it's over a certain return, we're blasting that out to our investor networks and saying first come, first serve for 15 to 20% cash on cash return in the first year. So.
Wow. I'm so fascinated by this next topic. As we were talking earlier, you and I have teams. We've had teams for a while, which is a lot of fun, challenging at the same time. Most of our days are filled with, managing the teams and the company that we run. And I can't wait to get into the structure part of this. It's so fascinating. But top 3 elements that define your management style within your team and I guess in the company as well.
Sure. Well, I would say the first one is my management style is by example. I'm a firm believer of speed of the leader, speed of the pack. You know, sitting behind a desk and telling people to do something is not the way that I like to be led, and so I want to see somebody that's out in front. And so that's the example that I'm setting for the clients or for my team members, and so that would be number 1. And then secondly is really caring for those people. I understand that should they meet all of their goals and hit the level of income that they want, I'm going to hit my numbers as well. And so getting a clear understanding of what their objectives are, where they want to go in the business, is a huge part of that. And then third piece was support along those lines. You know, what's that gap analysis? What are you missing in order to meet those goals? How can I help you train in that area, work with you on different sides of it? So I would say those are probably my top 3 styles.
Right on. Very good. And I'll encourage everybody, there's a chance for you to ask questions as we're live. So if you have a question, submit it. You'll see on the Google Hangout where you can submit questions. So feel free, and then we'll end with some of your questions as you come through. So bring them on. I know Keith would be happy to answer those.
Absolutely.
So talk to me about describe the structure and organizational chart of your office and your team. I'm really interested in.
Sure. So within my home team, we have 3 partners, myself, Roxanne Webster, and Jake Ginger. Right now, Jake is off chasing one of his passions, and that's teaching and instructing. And so he's doing that through the Keller Williams system and is a bold instructor traveling around the country. So there's that. Roxanne is really kind of focused over the division, what I refer to as our equity team. So dealing with the equity side, whether it's listing or buyer, she oversees the team members that are working in that arena. And then I'm in the new construction side of it. Nice. Underneath me in the new construction, I've got 2 ladies that are working with me on a regular basis in that arena. And then underneath Roxanne, we've got 4 licensed agents that are there. 2 that are actively working with buyers and sellers, and 2 that are in kind of their training program, their first 90-day program with us. And so they're really working the phones, working scripts, gaining that knowledge of the real estate industry and sharpening their saw, so to speak. Supporting all of that, I've got one gentleman who is a licensed agent I refer to him as an inside sales agent. He's receiving all of our phone calls that come into the team, whether it's phone calls, sign calls, anything along those lines, and then is kind of our client, our database management. So he's the one that's out reaching out to them on a fairly regular basis that's there. We've got one admin, rockstar admin, Bree Jones, that kind of runs our world, tells me where I need to be and makes sure I have everything I need for that. And then I've got 2 gentlemen that are over in the Philippines, some virtual assistants that are there.
That's incredible to me how small the world is now that you can pull that off, and
right.
How involved they can be in absolutely making your business better. So one thing I hear throughout this is systems and structure and people staying in their lane, which I harp on. Would you agree? Absolutely.
It's vital. Without the systems, without the checklists, things are going to fall through the crack. And it may be, a customer service issue, which is ultimately kind of minor in terms of, problems that are there. It could harm the business significantly. However, there could be some larger pieces that are missed. And then, we live in a very litigious society. And so it could cause some lawsuits against us. So we're big on systems, on making sure that we're filling in those gaps wherever absolutely possible. 1, to make sure our customers have a great experience in dealing with us, and 2, to make sure that we're not exposing ourselves to any unnecessary liabilities.
Smart. Talk to me about what you think are benefits to the team. I think they're somewhat obvious, but also some cons, because I hear a lot of people want to have a team ultimately. They don't always think through both sides of it. So
sure. Within our team, I think one of the benefits that I see is the competition. And it's a friendly competition among the team members. It's, hey, this is what I did. Yesterday, I put $1 million worth of property under contract in less than 24 hours. And so I was bragging to everybody. I'm like, come on, where are you guys at? Time to pick up the speed, or, let's go. So we have a lot of fun and joke around along those lines. And so it's motivational on that side. Absolutely, the camaraderie and the support that comes along with the team is a huge piece. It was the end of last year. I needed to take off for a month to go deal with a family emergency with my mom out in New Jersey. And team stepped in, took care of it. There was very few phone calls that I received or anything that I needed to deal with. And so that was a huge benefit to being on the team and being able to do that. So the coverage and the support along those lines. The cons, obviously there's a lot more moving parts when you start talking about that amount of units, those pieces that are there. It's a lot of balls to have juggling up in the air. And so making sure there's talented people in the world, if you're going to go into that team structure, is absolutely vital. Communication sometimes can be a challenge. The clients may feel like they're getting bounced around, and if there's not great communication between the team members, here's what I've talked to them about, here's the next steps, here's what we need to focus on with this person. There's definitely an issue that can happen with the customer experience on that side of it. And then one of the big cons, I guess, that would be also tolerating substandard performance from team member. If there's somebody that is not pulling their weight, all of a sudden that becomes the new standard on the team, and it's viral. It can be real problematic on that side. So
absolutely. So top 3 tips for managing a team.
I would say first off and foremost is invest up front. In that team member. We go through an exhausting interview process, to do everything we possibly can to ensure that they are a right fit for our culture, for what we're doing, that they're going to be a match both ethically, culturally, all those sorts of things. And then on training, that piece, like I mentioned earlier, we have your first 90 days pretty much laid out, and it's a little bit of a mix of videos that are there, some training videos, some phone work, some script work, and then sitting down on a regular basis in terms of what we refer to as a vision meeting. How are things going? Where are you at? Where do you need some help? So what are your challenges? So the investment up front in those people pays off huge dividends in the back. And then understanding their goals, like I kind of talked about before, knowing where they want to go and what they want to get and hitting them. Would be number 2 in terms of managing the team. And then accountability. Huge fan of that. I've got a business coach that I call into on a weekly basis, that holds us accountable to our goals and what we're doing. And when you come on to my home team, we're going to ask you what your goals are, and then we're going to hold you accountable to doing the activities that are going to get you there.
That's great. That's great. So I know that your level of success, the challenge is sometimes you can focus too narrowly on certain things, get too locked into certain things. So right now, what are you not currently doing that you would like to be able to move towards?
Well, Justin, we all know that real estate is very cyclical. And so a shift is coming in the market. It's not always going to be the opportunity like is new construction like we've got going on right now. And so ultimately where we need to be is focusing on our database and redoubling our efforts on securing that agreements, those relationships with the people, and making sure that when the shift does come, we have that mind share of our clients. I mentioned that a couple of times now, but I am a huge fan of listening to the consumers that are out there, and so annually I'm looking at this, and it's the DMAR study, the profile of buyers and sellers. Right, they're telling us what they want, what they're looking for, and how they're going in. And so when I refer to mindshare, I'm talking about, the stats that they gave us, which is 88% of the buyers either interview, or excuse me, that wasn't the one I was looking for. 72% of the sellers interview one agent, and 67% of the buyers interview one agent. So if you're not occupying position 1 in somebody's mindshare, odds are you're not even going to get the at-bat for the business that's there. And so we need to make sure that we're working with those clients that have worked with us before and maintaining that mind share so that when their real estate needs do come up, they're thinking of us and calling us.
That is probably one of the top resources that I use. I know you use as well, is the NAR study, just the profile of what is happening around you. It's so interesting to see the average age of consumers versus the average age of realtors these days, and what huge opportunity there is. So I'm glad you're using it, and you're going to use it to your advantage. That's great.
Yeah, I'm surprised more don't. I mean,
right?
There's a wealth of information that's in there, and so
it's all there.
The consumer's telling you what they want. So why reinvent the wheel, right?
Absolutely. I think I saw a stat the other day. 85% of clients, when interviewed at the closing table, said they would use that agent again. 85% would use that agent again. 16% actually do. Right. And it's completely on us. It's our fault. But
we orphan them. We leave them out there. If you're a new agent coming into the business, that's your opportunity, right? And learn from us that are making that mistake. And once you get them as a client, keep them for life.
Absolutely. So let's switch gears a little bit. So thoughts on the internet and our business, which has changed everything. And there's so many levels to it and what we can do with it. What are your thoughts regarding the best ways to use third-party syndication sites?
That's a touchy and sensitive subject in our business, that's for sure. But right now we don't do a whole lot. We don't purchase a lot of leads out of those third-party syndication. In my opinion, and I'm fine if you are doing it. This is my opinion. However, I think we're rewarding bad behavior by doing that with those syndication sites and encouraging them to continue to go down that path. So I don't pay for any leads on those sorts of pieces. So the premier agents or boom towns or things along those lines, there's not part of our business model that's out there. I use it essentially very much as a listing tool, and I put it in front of the consumers and say, I'm going to blast it out to everywhere and anywhere that's possible. And so if a consumer is looking online, a buyer is looking online, and we know they are based off of the stats from the profile, they're going to have a chance of seeing your listing. And so that's really where I leverage those people. Is I am giving them the information. So I guess I'm as bad as paying, but I just have a challenge with stroking them checks.
I tend to agree. How important are client reviews, and where should agents put them, and how do you use them?
Client reviews are vital, I think, and becoming more and more important. I'm actually teaching a class for Keller Williams and traveling around, and they call it the customer experience. And within that class, there's some stats, and it says 92% of the consumers read online reviews for local businesses. And that went up from 76% in 2012. So just more and more people are going that direction and looking at online reviews. And further, 80% will trust online reviews as much as personal recommendations, so long as they're authentic and there's multiple reviews to read. So it's a huge focus that we're on right now. We're asking for them as often as absolutely possible and putting them out there where we can. For us, Google, we do post to Zillow because we know there's a bunch of consumers that use that site, and Yelp are probably our top three that we're trying to push people towards.
That's great. So I was going to ask, what online marketing do you find most effective? Is that really kind of those three?
We do that. We do, and we're working towards increasing our search engine optimization for our website. They're trying to drive as much traffic there. So that we can ultimately then get them offline and across the table from us.
Okay. Not everything can be done online, which I think many of us forget, especially new agents. They just get locked into sitting in a computer and just emailing and doing all that stuff. But tell me about what offline marketing gets your team and you the best results.
It's, the door knocking and on the feet is really what it is. Gary Keller, the founder of Keller Williams, is famous for saying this is a contact sport, right? And the more we can get belly to belly with somebody and get in front of them, the higher the conversion rates are. The ability to not only just hear their voice tones, but read their body language and really build that rapport is huge. And so anything and everything that we can do to get in front of a consumer one way or another is really the strategy that we're focused on.
Good. How do you go about getting referrals from past clients, people that just closed, or even past clients you haven't talked to in a while? When do you do that, and how do you get them engaged in giving you some good words?
One of the other big tools that I use on a regular basis is the Red Book, the Millionaire Real Estate Agent. And we put a lot of systems and stuff in place around what's discussed in that book there. And so with our past clients, we've got them on a 33 touch program, meaning we're touching them 33 times during the year. We're in the process of reinventing what that touch looks like. I think emails have become the white noise of our business. And so, sending them out is easy. However, they're not getting read, they're not getting opened, and so it's not even an effective touch anymore. So, like I mentioned, we have one of the team members that's calling on a regular basis. We've just invested into Infusionsoft as our CRM, and are building campaigns in and around that. Not so much email campaigns, but phone call campaigns, and so it's getting spread out throughout the teams to call them. Personal notes, we do a client appreciation, things along those lines, and so. Again, touching them to maintain that mind share as often as possible is what kind of the focus is there. And then when we got them on the phone, if we're delivering value, if we've done a great job in their experience in buying or selling real estate, asking for the business or a referral is an easy next step.
Yeah. Do you have anything set in place? I know we, after a closing, as part of our system, that we send a link to them for a Zillow review or any online tool reviews. Do you send anything out as well?
Yeah, after a call, like I said, the business and the stuff is run underneath me, but not everything has me as the lead agent in there. It doesn't necessarily have Roxanne as the lead agent. And so we're in the process of calling through all the closings and doing a survey, for lack of a better word. How was your experience with my home team? Where do you think our opportunities are? What do we do well? And going through that piece, and then one of the closing questions we have is, if it was a phenomenal experience for you, would you be willing to fill out this review, gaining their commitment, and then sending them an email right away with the links of where we'd like them to put it. If the easier you can make it for the consumer to do that review, the higher the likelihood they're going to do it for you. And like I said, those stats just show that it's worth the time and the effort in order to have them out there.
Absolutely. Well, we're getting close to the end here, but you've been in the business a while. You've worn a bunch of different hats in the business. You've hired, you've fired, you see new agents all the time coming in, and they've got high hopes and not a lot of skill set yet. What advice can you give someone who is new and just getting started in real estate?
This best piece of advice I could give somebody on those is focus on that database, or as I refer to it sometimes, the data bank. I mean, that thing can just produce a lot of money. Again, it's people that already know, like, and trust you. So leverage that into starting your career, asking them for service, developing, giving back to them. The law of reciprocity is huge. So if you can add value into their world, they're going to feel obligated almost to do something nice in return for you. And so build that database, feed it daily, add value to it, and then continue to maintain that mind share with them.
That's great. So we're up against it here. We're almost done. But any parting shots? One question that I get all the time is, I've been in the business for a while. This market has shifted a little bit. Any advice you would give somebody that's done it long enough to know, but really is maybe going through their first market shift or having troubles adapting to the new market? Anything you can share? I
would, just keep an eye on the expenses, really. I mean, think of this as a business that you're running as a real estate agent. Know what your profit and loss is, and track the dollars that you're putting out there for marketing, for leads, for whatever it may be. Hold it accountable to getting a return. So you spend $1, getting $1 back is not a return. That's just getting your money back. You want to get something in, a multiple of that. And if you're not getting that, then cut that out. And then be prepared. Understand that, the grass isn't always going to be this green. And have abilities to adapt quickly and be on the forefront looking towards what's coming down that pike.
That's great. I think it's the mind shift of becoming a realtor to a real business owner and a CEO of a business is so tough for so many. I think it's the one place we see it fall for a lot of people. So hopefully people heed your advice. So anything else you'd want to finish with, Keith?
Well, I would just say, this is, have fun in this business. If you're not going to enjoy this, it's going to burn you out quickly because it is high stress and there's a lot of moving parts to it. And if you can learn to have a good time with it and be respectful of your co-partners, the co-agents on the other side, it'll work wonders for you.
That's great. So we did such an awesome job. There are no questions I'm seeing that have come across the screen here. We nailed it. Everything is just perfect. I'm sure your phone will be blowing up with people wanting to mentor under you and work for you. So I can't thank you enough. This is so much fun to get to talk to high-level agents that know what they're doing, that really do it on purpose and have a direction they're going. So I look forward to actually working with you.
I look forward to doing the deal as well. And right, Justin, I just opened up the Q&A. I do see some on my end.
You do, hit it. I didn't get them, so bring them on.
So let's see. We got, what is the single lead generation activity or activity that results in the most conversions to closing? Again, Keisha, I would say on that one, it's back to the door knocking. Getting in front of people and just having the conversations. And when you're out there, it's not just knocking on a door and trying to buy real estate on them. It's about adding value. And so, what is the purpose of you being out there, and what can you answer, and what can they find valuable? If you can answer that question and then get in front of them, you'll have greater success. That's there. Yeah. We got a few from Jennifer here. I've heard a lot about virtual assistants, but curious on what tasks you are able to pass to them. Can I share more details? So Jennifer, a lot of it is our data entry sort of stuff. When we get a consultation or a listing appointment that's put on the books, they're doing a lot of the research for us, ordering O&Es, things along those lines. Tracking our numbers, who's making how many calls and contacts and those sorts of pieces is one of their duties. The investment analysis as one of the duties. So a lot of the busy work behind the scenes, and they are, working during our business hours. It's there. Just like I talked about in investing up front, it was vital that we invested in them. So we did a lot of screen videos, a lot of Skype sessions, a lot of trainings on exactly, well, this is what we want and this is how we want it to look. And so that investment, of time paid off huge dividends for us on that side of it.
Keith, if I can't just real quick, one thing you mentioned to me earlier, and I know it'll come across silly, but the virtual assistant thing for so many of us is they're there, we're here, there's a separation. But I think, and you said this earlier, was one of the two had a child. And what happened from there?
Yeah, so one of the two, and I guess let me back up. Yes, they are in the Philippines, and it seems like a world away. However, with technologies just like we have here, the world is becoming more and more flat. And so we do, on the team, we have our stand-up call every morning. It's 8:15 to 8:30, and it's, what was your one win from yesterday? What's your one big focus for today? What are you grateful for? They call in on that, and they're part of the team. So we bring them in on everything. So it's not just they are over there. They are part of our team. And so, one of our assistants did have a baby recently and had named me and my business partners as co-godparents of that child. So
that is awesome.
Yeah,
that is so cool. Congrats on that. Any other? Keep going.
Jennifer asks if I own any rental investment properties or holds. Personally, Jennifer, I don't. I've invested my money into the franchise side of the world. One of my business partners has gotten heavily into that. He owns, I think, 42 doors that's there. And then one of my team members, a younger gentleman, he wanted to go down that route. And so he bought a triplex. He's living in one of the units and has tenants in the other two that are basically paying his mortgage for him. And so along those lines. And then the last one that I see here is also, I'm sorry, there's a few others. Jennifer, I don't know anything about Upstream. And so I'm not 100% sure on answering that question. You have any information on that, Justin?
Oh boy, do I. Yeah, Upstream is somewhat controversial in the MLS world. I think some people view it as a national MLS opportunity. There really is a band of brokerages out there that have really come together and said there needs to be a place. All these MLSs are regionalized and kind of part and parcel of you know, if you work in Colorado Springs, you got to put in an MLS here. If you put in Denver, you got to put an MLS here. And that happens all over the country. A lot of redundancy, a lot of staff time is put into inputting listings into multiple MLSs. You know, we don't see it as much here. We do see some crossover, but there's some parts of the nation where for you, Keith, as an employing broker and a franchise owner, you would have to belong to 7 to 10 MLSs at one time. And you'd have to have your staff input listings and all those. So what really upstream, the bottom line, what they want to do, and there's so many layers to this, but that's really the thing, is they want one place that houses all listings and is a one-stop shop, if you will. So we'll see where it goes. There's still a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff that is happening with it, but it's something we will be seeing more of, absolutely. There's a lot of money and a lot of energy behind this in some big brokerages. So if you don't know about Upstream, I would definitely urge you guys to check it out and start learning a little bit about it.
All right. Then the last question is about the virtual assistant, so I think I covered that one. So
cool. Well, this has been awesome. I was scrambling and taking some notes on things that I've learned from this. I'm going to call you and follow up on a couple of things. I think there's some great opportunities to learn. And Keith, I can't thank you enough on behalf of DMAR and taking your time. I know how valuable it is. You've got a lot of things going, but we just want to thank you specifically for not only your work within the industry, the way you ethically do your business, how you're willing to share it. We're the abundance mindset here in our company as well as you. And if you have a great idea, share it. And I think it's so cool that you've taken time to do this. So thank you for that. And I'm sure you would welcome the audience to call you or email or text you with any questions on anything. So this was our first one. Hopefully we did okay. There are more coming. The next edition of the Top Producer Hangout will feature moderator Libby Levinson, who is great. And the guest on that episode will be Brandon Brennick. So they'll chat about creative contracts, working with millennials, luxury markets, and a lot more to come on that. So make sure you tune into that live. That's going to be July 14th at noon. July 14th at noon. Same setup as this. So hopefully this worked well for everybody. If you have any feedback about how we can improve this, definitely reach out to somebody at the staff at the Denver Metro Association of Realtors. They are phenomenal. I've got some staff sitting here. Sarah's been amazing throughout this whole process. So with that said, thank you so much, Keith. Thank you for the audience and your engaged questions, and let's go do some deals. Thank you all so much.
Have a great one.
See you, buddy.